You good if I'm
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys rock and roll. Give us what you got and we'll soak it all up.
awesome? I'll try and share my screen here. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. And Huddle's been kind of acting up today, so hopefully this pans out for me here. If not, we'll have to go rogue and start drawing stuff. But Coach York, offensive line coach, offense coordinator here at Valley City. Good. I know a few of you guys on this call, which is awesome. I don't like talking about myself too much, so we'll keep this thing rolling here. Like to plug, obviously, our Alaska guys here. Here's 12 guys that were on our roster this past fall. You guys might know some of these guys. The big thing here, 6 of these 12 guys were on the field for us, so that was awesome. We've always had a pretty good stronghold in Alaska, and Coach Mack and Horner, our head coaches, 30 years here. We've had a starter from Alaska in all 30 years, so it's definitely something. When we heard clinic going on, it's something we wanted to help out with, to give back to Alaska football. So, kind of the topic of discussion tonight, inside zone, and I think it's huge. Kids nowadays especially want to know the why on everything we do. So here I kind of put down why we are big into inside zone. Last year, 171 reps of 900 on offense were some sort of inside zone. That's with tags and RPOs and everything involved. But we averaged 4.3 yards per play on any sort of inside zone variation. Okay, so it was a very successful play for us. Some of the other things we talk about and why I think inside zone is important for us is it is our day one install, and I think everything kind of builds off of it. Okay, like our numbering system with who we're blocking, where we're blocking to, all that stuff is kind of built right off our inside zone. So then we go to day two when we start running outside zone. The numbering system isn't any different for our outside zone concept. Like I said, it's versatile, and I talked about 171 reps of it. We can make it look a lot of different ways, and just have different tags and stuff to take advantage of defenses. And like I said, it's easy to protect with RPO and play action pass. And then it is a high percentage play. Seldomly do we take a tackle for a loss. I think it was something like 17% was lower than 3 yard per carry or per play. So it is something where we have a lot of success with it. Getting into kind of the nuts and bolts, and I know it's kind of more of O-line talk, but we'll just slightly brush on what we do as a full scheme. To the boundary, our quarterback knows he's always got a smoke screen option, and then to the field, he's got a bubble screen. Okay, so it doesn't matter if we're 3-by-1, 2-by-2. He knows to the boundary he's going to get that guy smoking, and he's going to have the inside most receiver running a bubble. Okay, so pre-snap, it's on him to see, hey, do I have numbers? Can I get us 4 yards? Okay, if he can get 4 yards, he's going to take that. Okay. If he doesn't like the numbers either which way, it could change post snap. Okay, and he could pull and throw that still. Okay, but chances are now he's going to go through his read. Okay, so post snap, he's going to step off the center line and he's reading the backside C gap player. Okay, true zone read. Okay, the running back is going to get that center line and he's running right downhill. So if it's in pistol, and I take a lot of pride in our running back should be able to take our inside zone out of any position. Okay, no matter where we have him, he should be able to run our inside zone concept. Okay, so they're going to spend a lot of time running hose, getting that handoff and going. Okay, but running straight downhill. So it's quarterback's job to get off that center line to give him it. Okay, and he's reading that C gap player. Okay, and I don't say, a lot of people will say you're reading that DN, but I don't like saying that because with how many different fronts we're getting nowadays, it could change post snap. So like we're gonna get that DN cross and face, linebacker filling. So that picture is gonna change regardless of who we tell him. So we just say C gap player, whoever that might be. That's who he's reading. Okay. Getting onto the O line and what they're doing. Realistically, I like it because it's pretty simple for our guys. Okay, they know they're going to be doing essentially 3 different blocks when they get up there. Okay, they're going to be either in a double team where they're the lead man or the trail man in that double team. Okay, they're going to be one-on-one with someone if they're in a solo block, or if they're on the backside, they could have a sift block. Okay, basically when we get up there, we talk a lot about the numbering system, and I'll get into that. Okay, but everyone knows who they're responsible for. Okay, and then based off of that, we start talking about common sense double teams. Okay, so kind of moving forward here, talking about the numbering system, and everyone does this a little bit different. For me, I get up there and I tell the center he's got to pick the first threat to that A gap. Okay, so looking at this picture, pretty simple. The first threat to that A gap is that nose guard shaded on the center. Okay, from there, the front side knows then, the guard knows, okay, he's got to find the next biggest threat. Okay, so in this picture, and again, this is another picture that a lot of people struggle with. If they're stacked, who do we consider one? Who do we consider two? Okay, and realistically, it doesn't matter as long as you stick to your guns. We've always said the stack guys is the lower number. Okay, okay, so in this picture, he'd be one. Okay, and then this down line would be two. Okay, on the backside, they're kind of going through the same process. If this is 0, they're looking for the next threat. Here's -1, here's -2. Okay, so that's who we know we can block on the O-line. Okay, here's kind of an added bonus. We got the tight end involved here, so he can take number 3, so we can block 3 on the call side here. Okay, from here, now what we talk about is center is always responsible for 0, guard's always responsible for 1, tackle's always responsible for 2. Okay, backside guard's responsible for -1, backside tackle's responsible for -2. Okay, so looking at this picture, then we it's not working here. Then we get into our what we call common sense double teams. Okay, we get up there, okay, and we look through, okay, where are our common sense double teams? So looking at this picture, the center knows there's really nobody he can, double team with that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, because he asked that front hard to get into this team. Guard's got to work back. To get to hit number 1 responsibility. Okay, so he knows he's one-on-one, so we call him on a solo block. Okay, and we'll get into that technique in a little bit. Okay, so these two know then this is a pretty easy common sense double team. we can be 2 for 2, take care of first level first, and get up to guard's responsibility of -1. Okay, backside can do the same thing. We got -1 and we got -2, so they can get into a double team, take care of their 2 guys by double teaming up to second level. Okay, tight end knows he doesn't have anybody to help him in his double team. If we had 2 tight end set, well, then they could probably double team up to number 4. Okay, so that's a look at the numbering system. Okay, and building double teams off of it. You guys can stop me anytime if some of this stuff isn't making sense or you want me to slow it down. The next few clips here are just kind of showing the versatility. So this is just base zone read, and what we've done off of it. So here, quarterback gets a pull read. He's reading that C gap defender. And I think it's important here, and we'll get into some of this later if we have time. We talk about the numbering system, which is huge. You need the numbering system. Okay, but at times there's going to be defenses that give you funky looks, or they're going to move pre-snap, show blitz, whatever it might be. So you got to have built-in answers. Our built-in answer, if we see anything funky, the centers are going to start yelling zebra, 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 which means full zone. Wyatt Nelson on the call is probably having flashbacks right now. He probably heard zebra 1,000 times. Okay, but that just means now we're just going to full zone step, and all double teams are called off. We're just responsible for whatever comes to our gap. Okay, and this is exactly what happens here. We get a zebra call just because they're in kind of a funky bear type look. Okay, quarterback knows he's still going to read that C gap defender. Here he gets a pull read. Our guys do a good job sorting it out. Okay. Of course, Zoom's going to be acting, or Huddle's going to be acting slow on me now. Any questions yet while this loads, guys?
Is that normally the center's call to yell zebra, or is the quarterback also able to make that call?
Yep. So we just have the center call that. The quarterbacks, we think the quarterback's got enough on his plate the way it is to learn and understand the tight zone and any sort of blocking scheme. So we kind of leave it on the center to make those calls as far as run game goes. He does have adjustments he could make. If say we had an RPO on, maybe he just wants to go full slide protection because he knows he's throwing it. He could just go, hey, easy, easy, and check into a protection, just so he knows he's protected no matter what as he's throwing that RPO. But otherwise, it's on the O-line. All right. Hopefully this isn't a recurring theme here. Okay, so just saw the pull read, same team. So they do the same thing here. This team, they didn't have necessarily the bodies to match up with us. So they just kind of tried causing confusion. So our guys just full zoned a lot of this. But now you can see, I'm assuming that DN kind of got yelled at on the sideline. So now the next time through, a little bit later in the game, we give a give read. And that's one thing I haven't touched on, how we teach quarterbacks here. We teach this guy squaring and squeezing. So if his shoulders are square, okay, just give it. If he's running flat down the line of scrimmage, okay, and you can beat him with his shoulders turned, that's when he's going to pull and go. So that's kind of his base rule. And we tell him, when in doubt, hand the thing off. Unless you have a really talented kid there, which number 5 is pretty dang. He's probably our second best running back. So, okay, then we talk about pre-snap. Got smoke in the bubble. So to the boundary here, we got our smoke. To the field, we got our bubble. Pretty clear pre-snap read here that he wants that bubble. So he just tugs his jersey, throws it out there. Go get us some easy yards. Okay, and then very seldomly, this doesn't happen a lot. As you can see, it's spring ball with, 30 inches of snow cleared off. But we get the pull read, and then the secondary action here from the pull read. Of course, this thing's acting up again on me. I'm not sure. You guys, I've been trying huddle all day. It's just been acting up. I don't know what the deal is. Coach Obama, any suggestions?
I would suggest maybe going to Chrome if you have it. Maybe a different browser. That's why they keep me around here, guys. I'm the tech guy.
Let's try this. Coach Bowman's the jack of all trades. All right. Okay, so like I said, doesn't happen a lot, but we get the pull, and if anything fills hard into his sight, he's taught then to throw this bubble screen late. You know, and it doesn't happen a lot. It's tough because you're asking this guy to block for a long time. So that's why it doesn't happen a ton, but from time to time, it does turn into a good option there. Okay, but getting into more of the nuts and bolts, some of what goes into this. So the first block that we're going to teach is the solo block, and kind of the different techniques we teach with it. Getting into what a solo block is here. So looking at this picture, you know, we got tight zone going to the right. Okay, so here's 0. That's the first threat to that A gap. That's who the center's picking as 0. Here's 1, here's 2, here's -1, here's -2 then. Okay, so looking at this picture, you know, the common sense double team isn't necessarily to get this guy all the way to the front side to work to 0. Okay, it's a lot easier for him to just go here and get this double team. Okay, so with that being said, okay, they're going to double here to the front side. That means he's one-on-one with the solo block. He's one-on-one with the solo block. Okay, and then he's fast, hurry up to next level. He's digging this out. Okay, so watching those solo blocks, and we'll kind of break this down. But basically what we tell them is, hey, this ball is getting run A to A gap. You already got that guy out of that gap. Keep him out of that gap. Okay, so that's the job of the solo block. Here you can see Cade, number 71, that right guard, loses it late. Okay, he's got to extend that left arm, keep that guy outside. Okay, you see Troy doing a lot better job inside out on that guy and getting width. Okay, how we drill it, we always start with steps first. Okay, and we teach. Okay, so this would be like a left guard running a solo block. Okay, the ball's getting ran in here. Okay, so he's got 3 technique on him. So we teach that first step going vertical, 6 inches, 3 to 6 inches. Okay, and then from there, and basically what that step's to do is if we get any sort of cross face, that's supposed to cut it off. Okay, try keeping that guy out of that A gap. Okay, if that guy doesn't cross face, if he squeezes this thing down, now you drive off that step and you torque and widen him. Okay, so you can see him driving that thing forward and then driving right back off of it, torquing that guy out. Okay, the one thing, if you guys don't do this, I think this is huge, having the second guy in line, and it doesn't have to be full speed, but I always have him at least stepping through so that when he gets up there, he can go full speed. Okay, it's kind of stealing a rep. I'm not watching that guy, okay, but at least he can kind of test himself on the technique. So when he gets up there and goes full speed, now he's not wasting his rep. Okay, so now Sammy steps up, boom, driving off of it. Okay, then we teach the contact portion. So this is just like he made contact. And I just want him really driving off that inside leg. Okay, feeling that torque in the hips and feeling that extension with the arm. Okay, so here is a pretty good rep, and Leon was one of the better ones with it. Okay, really strong kid from Texas. Okay, but you can see that torque right in that hip, and that extension in his arm. I don't like this rep. You guys can see kind of that right leg false steps there. Like I don't want that thing even involved. I just want to feel that torque. That's the purpose of this drill, is just to feel that torque and that extension. Okay, then we start adding the step to it. Okay, so now he's stepping and we should see that torque. Not a great rep here by Salas. Okay, here's a better rep. Again, Leon was really good at it. Okay, so powering forward, and you can see that torque out. Okay, then from there, guys, you got to continue to build this thing. So we talked about that first step is to prevent any cross face. Okay, so then start adding that movement to that guy. So now he's crossing that face. So we got to be driving vertical, trying to cut it off and get that guy out of his gap. Okay, if we can get someone out of his gap, we know the running back's going to win. Same thing here. Okay, here's from the right side. So we got a right tackle here getting cross face. Same thing here with the left tackle. Okay, and then this is the beauty of being small college football, right? You got to hold the camera and you got to point. in this drill work here. Okay, so now we kind of make this guy question. Before they knew exactly what the defender was doing. Okay, so now we point one or two ways. Either he squares and squeezes this thing, okay, or he's going to cross face. Okay, maintain your gap or cross face. Okay, so now this guy's got to react. He doesn't know what's coming. So take your step, react, work your technique. So here he takes a step up. Guy stays in his gap, widen him. Okay, here we get cross face. So take that vertical step. Guys crossing face, drive vertical. Okay, same thing here. We get cross face. Okay, and you can start to see now that we're guessing, some of the footwork goes out of the window. Okay. Instead of vertical, he's stepping this way. Instead of cutting him off, chances are he's going to get beat across face in a game there. Okay. So now quick another look at putting that together in game here. So again, we got inside zone going to the left. Okay, so looking at this picture, here's 0, here's 1, here's 2. Okay, -1, -2. Okay, and for whatever reason, I don't remember, but he called a solo block here. So we got a solo and a solo. He's going to hurry up to next level. Okay, and then backside, we're doubling up. Okay, so you're watching the center and the left tackle here. Take their solo blocks. Okay, and you can see pretty good job with that torque there. Now at this point, both of these guys need to do a better job of running these guys. Okay, and I don't love the center ever having a solo block, and this is kind of why. Right, we tell the running back he's looking A to A gap. Well, having a solo block there puts a guy right in one of his first options here. If they would have just double teamed here, okay, now you're giving the running back another two-way go here. Okay, luckily here we get a pull read. Here's another one. This was good teach tape for especially our tackle here. Sometimes you get lazy. All first team all conference kid here, but watching our left tackle, both of these two have the solo block, so their job again is to prevent any sort of movement into that A gap. Okay, but you can see this kid always did a good job driving this thing out. Okay, so if you're going to be lazy at all in this type of block, chances are you're going to get rolled up on. So this kid being lazy in this block and just catching ends up getting rolled up on. Okay, so that's kind of the solo block. Getting into the double teams now. The first guy is what we call the lead man, and that's what we'll talk about first. So if we're running tight zone to the right here, so we got tight zone to the right. If you're the front guy in the double team, we consider you the lead man. Okay, so then he'd be the trail man, he's the lead man, he's the trail man. Okay, so now I'm just teaching one technique for both of these two guys as the lead man. Okay, and their job is to what we call is hold the line. Okay, you got to hold this line and be vertical through the play side number. Okay, so as we're watching this, you can see the left guard does a really good job holding his line. You can see the right guard doesn't do a great job. And we talk about not putting that second arm in because you can see what that does to his hips here. Okay, and he starts to get pushed off his line here. Okay, but if you want to see good technique, it's that left guard, vertical through that play side number, holds that line, gets up to next level when that guy triggers. Okay, how we drill that, and I don't have the steps. I didn't film the steps to it. You'll see that in kind of the next clips here. But the first drill we would do, obviously, is the steps. The second drill is what we call is hold the line. So you put a defender there, and my big thing is putting these guys on the line so they can feel themselves really holding that line. Okay, when you blow that whistle to stop the drill, they can see how far off that line they were driven. Okay, so it's really important. This guy gives a great look, like he's trying to split that double team and attack the lead man. Okay, and try knocking him off this line. Okay, so he should be powering that inside foot straight through his crotch. Okay, be strong with that outside leg. And we talk about he's doing a really good job. You can see his hand. We talk about that hand should go under the shoulder pad and you should be lifting. Okay, that's a pain in the butt when you got a defensive line. If you're a defensive lineman and you start getting those shoulder pads into your neck. Okay, so we try to get right underneath those shoulder pads and lift it right into his neck. Okay, that's going to get him popped up and it's going to help your buddy get over here into this thing. Okay, so he's doing a pretty good job with lifting that. Okay, again, very important, I think. This guy taking the steps, getting ready to go next rep. Okay, here's right tackle, same deal. Pretty good job with the hand. Same thing here. Okay, not a big fan of this. You can see he's got the forearm in there. Like I said, I want that hand and I want that lifting, that shoulder pad. Okay, so then we add the steps in. Okay, and I know I didn't have the footwork stuff to begin this. So how we teach this is, so he's the lead man and tight zone's going to the left here. Okay, so he's the lead man going to the left. So his left foot's going to pick up and put down, kind of a timing step. Okay, and then, uh-oh, he's yelling at me. Okay, and that right leg is going to go vertical through it. Okay. Let me try to mute him. Is there any way to mute? All right, there we go. Okay. So picking up, put it down, that right leg goes vertical through, and we're lifting. Okay, same thing. You see good timing step, left step, right step goes vertical through his crotch. Again, I don't love that forearm shiver that he's doing here. It should be hand and lifting. Okay, so now this is right side, inside zone going to the left. Pick it up, put it down, vertical through. Okay, then you start adding movement just like before. Now you're the lead man. So here's the trail man. It's inside zone going to the left. Okay, start having this guy cross his face now. Okay, in perfect world, these guys don't move, but it is football. They're going to move. Okay, so now he's going to pick up, put down, and drive vertical. But as he picks this one up and as he puts this one vertical, he's going to see this guy cross and face. So he's really got to do everything in his power to drive vertical and cut that guy off. If he doesn't get it cut off, what we tell him is displace him. Okay, if you can't get it cut off, just displace. Use his momentum against him, torque him, and just drive his ass this direction. Running back will see that wrong color flash across his face, and he should hit it right behind him. Okay, so like here, again, not a great rep, and it's not going to be beautiful every time. Some old linemen just aren't very fast with their feet, so they're going to get beat. That's fine if you get beat across your face. Just like I said, we want to get it cut off. If you don't, you better displace then. Leon, he's 360 pounds, did a lot of displacing, not a whole lot of cutting off. Okay, Sammy, first team all conference kid 3 years in a row, did a lot of cutting off. Okay, here you can see, pick it up, put it down, and how quickly his third step cuts that thing off. And drive that thing vertical. Okay, so that's a little bit about the lead man. And there is some nuances to this. So as you're looking at this picture, we got inside zone going to the right. Okay, so like first off, we talked already, if we think any sort of funky look is coming, he has the freedom to have full zone call. Here he doesn't call that, he keeps the doubles on. Okay, so looking at this picture, here's 0, here's 1, here's 2. The double team they're working is here. Okay, and the backside double is here. Okay, and looking at this picture, the couple things here for you guys, I'm not a big fan of this action, him coming down, stepping down to this block to get back out to 31. Okay, so if that's the case, a couple things, he's got to solo block this. Okay, but what I'd rather have him do then is, if we know this guy is a tight shade to the center, is what I tell him to do then is cut his split down so he doesn't have to step down to it. Instead, by cutting that split down, now you can just step straight vertical to it and drive this out. Okay, what you can't have happen though is that tackle, maintain his 2-foot split then, because then you're just narrowing these zones down, or these gaps down. Okay, so he's got to communicate to him that, hey, I'm cutting this down. He should remain planted at where he is to remain that big B gap there. Okay, so I don't love that he's having to step back to this thing. You can see now he's adding that arm into that, turning his hips and not getting up to next level. Okay, on the backside, it's a little bit different. Okay, I talk about trying to keep that front side hand out. But if you're working your double back to number 48 here, since he's on the back side instead of front, okay, I'm okay with him adding a second hand here just because you should have more time with where he's at. Okay, so I like what Guap is doing here, getting up to next level as the lead man. Okay, and then we got the trail man as well. Okay, so watching the trail man, looking at this picture, I want you watching this guy. Here's the lead man, here's the trail man. So his job is to go vertical through, hold the line. His job, what we tell the trail man to do is you got to get piggyback and you should get nose to nose with this guy and drive it vertical. You got to bring the thunder and you got to drive that thing vertical. Okay, so pretty good job here. And we'll talk through the steps of this. It should be scoot stepping over. He does a really good job getting nose to nose on this thing. He did a really good job holding the line. Now we're in good position to drive this thing up. And we tell that lead man not to get off until this guy comes to us. Okay, force that guy to make a decision. Here, he made the wrong decision. He bounced back. We got to capture it. Okay, I would like to see this running back trust this thing, keep this front side. They should know inside run. Those defensive coaches are going to add 9 to the box here. Here's 8. Here's 9 coming in late. Love it. Okay, talking through the steps though. Here's the scoot steps. Okay, what we talk about. So if he's the trail man, he's going to the right here. So lead man's over here. He's holding the line. He's trailing it. Okay. Here's his first step. Here's his second step. Then his third step should get vertical and into that guy. Okay, so he should be going vertical on that third step. First step should be lateral. Boom, boom. Third step vertical. So that's pretty good job by Leon. Boom, boom, vertical. Okay. Same thing here. Boom, boom, vertical. Okay. Sammy's not a great look at it. Sometimes he's too fast. I can't even watch his feet. That's why he got away with bad technique at times. Too dang fast for my eyes. Okay, you can see if you slow this thing down, 1, 2 is already going forward. Okay, so he's not gaining enough ground this direction and going here. By going vertical with that second one, what ended up happening a lot of times, his hips were going this direction instead of vertical like we need them. That's why we want 2 steps. Third step should be vertical with that front leg. Okay, next drill then what we do is we can kind of have a 2-4 here. Okay, so he's going to be working his lead man technique. Okay, and he's going to be already fitted in. Okay, so now he's just feeling himself fit into this thing and piggyback and get nose to nose and drive this thing vertical. Okay, so now he's defensive guy still trying to knock this guy. So he's still getting reps at being the lead man. And now he's really the focus of the drill, getting over and piggybacking this thing. Okay, and you can see here, not a great job by Troy. We talk about nose to nose, and sometimes he probably had stinky breath without helmets on. A lot of kids aren't as comfortable getting over nose to nose right away. Okay, same deal here with Sammy. And you can start to see some of those issues with being too quick, second step going vertical. A lot of times his momentum was going here, he was going here. Now we're kind of working against each other. Okay, this is a better rep. We corrected it. Next rep here with Sammy. You can see now he's doing a good job. He's piggybacked. He's nose to nose. Now we're not going to get split. Okay, so looking at this picture, and the big thing, guys, I don't even put linebackers out there. Like you can see these drills, there's no linebackers out there. And realistically, the whole first time we install this, so we go through a whole practice without linebackers out there because I don't want these guys getting quick up to linebackers. Okay, you start putting targets out there, they're going to be leaving these doubles too quick. So I take a lot of pride in getting these guys just worrying about first level first. Okay, so like looking at this picture here, don't worry about these guys. They kind of got their own stunt going on with this wrap technique. But we got inside zone going to the left. So here's our lead man. Here's our trail man, lead man, trail man. Okay, and we're not reading anybody. This isn't true zone read. It's got an RPO off of it. But watching the center and the right guard here on their blocks. The beauty of this is the lead man, being patient, be patient, let this guy come to you is the big thing. And, this kid's brother is currently with the Titans, Dylan Radens. And he was pretty good football player. Okay, you can see he's patient. He's just worrying about this and waiting for these guys to come to him. Okay, if he would have just got off, okay, this guy's probably splitting this thing and making a play at 3 or 4 yards. Okay, but because he was patient, waiting on this thing, gave us a chance here. Now we go for 12. Okay, and you can see the opposite reaction on the backside. You can see the lead man gets off way too quick. Okay, well now these guys are a lot more athletic. You give them space, they're going to make a move and make you look silly. Okay, got off way too quick. Let that guy come to us. O-lineman, we're better in tight spaces. Okay, so that lead man needs to sit in that thing, hip into that thing, let that linebacker come to us. Okay, but watching trail man, like this is a really good job by a tight end out of all people, using the scoot technique, getting over here, nose to nose and driving that thing. Okay, his lead man did him no good there. Okay, so now this would be the second time we go through. So day 2, then we start adding linebackers. And we can have this guy fit multiple different directions, right? And these guys, lead man's got to have eyes on. Where does he go? If he goes backside, basically what we tell him, if that guy fills backside, your job is to put him into him. Put this D lineman. So bring that second hand, put this D lineman into that linebacker. Okay, really good job here. You can see these two, pretty good friends, pretty good relationship, pretty good job getting piggybacked. There's no splitting that double team there. Okay, and good job being patient. Once that guy triggers, comes to us, and we talk about propelling yourself off. So push off this guy, propel yourself into that guy. Okay, here we start getting some movement. So we talk about as the trail man, you're reading your knee to your hip. If it goes away, you know you're sticking your foot in the ground, you're climbing. Okay, something's coming back to you. So you got to have eyes for any popper. If not, if there's no popper coming, get up to next level. Okay, so here's a pretty good look at it. We got inside zone to the right. Okay, so our double team is here. Our backside double team is here. He's inserting here. Okay, so watching the backside, left guard and left tackle, near knee, near hip, pretty clearly went away. So he snaps off of that thing, gets vertical up to that double, or up to that linebacker. Okay, and this is something we just started doing, really a year and a half ago. For me, I think the best old lineman can get out of bad position. Okay, so anytime I can get these guys in bad position, have them feel themselves getting out of bad position, I think that's very important, just so they can have the confidence in what to do when they are in bad position. Because in perfect world, yeah, it's pretty easy to coach people to get into good position, but they're not always going to be in good position. So you got to coach them out of bad position if you want them to succeed. So like here is a double team. And they are getting split. So how do we coach them out of it? Well, you guys got to work your hips back together. Okay, so both of you guys should strain to get your hips back together here. So that's the purpose of this drill. This guy's got to try and continue to split it. Okay, and we got to get our momentums going the same direction again. We can't be pushing off of each other. So right now he's going this direction. He's going that. I mean, that's defeating the purpose of a double team there. Okay, so like this is from 3 years ago. Again, before we started doing this would be a situation here where this would have came in handy, right? Where they're getting split now. Start working your hips back into this, work your hips back into this. Let's get our momentum going towards our linebacker now. Yeah, I think I went too long here. Did I? Am I still good? I'm still good, right?
You're good.
All right, good.
Coach, you have, I think the next session is 6:30, so you're good.
I got about 10 minutes till question and answer. All right, perfect. Okay, the last block. So we talked about solo block. We talked about the lead man and the trail man, lead man, trail man. Okay, there is no solo blocks here. Now we're talking about if you're on the backside, you might have a sift block, usually by that backside tackle. Okay, and he's sifting through. He's responsible for B gap. I talked about already. Defenses nowadays are disguising who the C gap player is. Like we could get this action. Okay, that means the quarterback's going to read this guy. Okay, and then that means tackle's got to be responsible for that C gap player then. Okay, so bunch of drills you got to do to prepare these guys. And, we're getting a bunch of this where we get the 4-eye look, okay, and him out of this picture, and then he slants here, okay, and then he becomes the B gap player or vice versa. That 4-eye stays here. He becomes the read guy. So there's just so many different things that they can do back here to mess with zone read. We got to be able to drill it. Okay, so looking at this, you can see what the SIP block is. Basically, he's just sorting through this and figuring out who the B gap player is. Okay, so I don't love what he's doing here as far as just kind of stepping around this block. Okay, and there's a couple different theories to this. Like if you got a really good player here that you're okay running, so maybe at the high school level, you're okay. Maybe your quarterback isn't necessarily a thrower. He's more of a runner. Well, then awesome. I'm okay with him stepping around because now you're going to get more pull reads. Okay. But at our level, these guys, the elite ones are hard to find. Okay. This kid is actually from Juneau here. Pretty talented kid. Not necessarily a guy we want to get injured. Okay. So I like him to be harder through this. What that's going to do is usually muddy this up for him. And if it's muddy, talked about already, when in doubt, hand it off. Okay. So we're kind of forcing at times the quarterback to hand it off. But like I said, at the high school level, maybe you want more pulls. Awesome. Okay. So like here, I'm not a big fan of what our tackle did here. Okay. Here's a better look at kind of what he should be doing. We talk about going hard through that play side shoulder and getting up to next level. And it kind of depends where your linebacker is too, right? If he's stacked like this, you can be a little bit slower through this thing. If your -2 is here, well then, like you saw that picture before, probably getting a little bit quicker off of this thing. Okay, so here's a look at Troy here. And this is a really good picture because, again, in this picture, he should be a little bit concerned here because here's 0, here's 1, here's 2, -1. -2 typically is a linebacker, right? And hopefully this guy's the read guy. But looking at this picture, there's no linebacker in the box here. So he should probably be concerned. It's pretty easy for them to do this out of this look. Okay. And you can see we kind of go on a hard count, and that's exactly what was on. They're going to be cross and face. He was supposed to be responsible for C. Okay, but now we check. Hey, easy, easy. Well, then these guys check. It's kind of a cat and mouse game here during practice. Okay, so with good technique, it doesn't really matter. Okay, you got to anticipate this guy crossing face, and you take him if he does. If he doesn't, hard through that play side shoulder, get up to the B gap player. So here you can see this guy wants to be a B gap player from all the way out there. Let him. Okay, let's get up there, hard through. This forces the give. Now we got, all conference kid, 3-time all conference kid running the ball downhill. 6'2", 230. Okay. Again, I'd like him to be a little bit lower. This kid was a really good football player too from Hawaii. Okay, but meet him low to high, same arm, same shoulder. Keep that thing dug out. So now we can be clean through and get a true one-on-one with that safety. But regardless, we still get 9 there. Okay, and then kind of the last thing we do, we kind of put it all together. Okay, so now we start adding, half line, and we can go full line and just give them different looks. So here you can see that linebacker creeping upside. This should be a situation where he goes zebra, 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 so we're all just going to zone step. And that's what they do. They see that 45 now instead of all double teams are called off because he's zebraed, and we're driving on our path. Okay, here's one thing I didn't talk about. So like looking at this picture, if there was a 1 technique, technically he'd be doubling here to 0. Okay. The one thing kind of to make sure these guys have rules, if there's, say there's a guard here and another 3 techniques, so we see a lot of this where it's an even look. I always tell the center to work to the front side because something funky's probably coming, whether it's this or some sort of slants back into A gaps. Like they're in double Bs there for a reason. Okay, so we tell them to work to the front side if we get double Bs like that. Okay, so they got that front side double. You can see movement. So now we're just working all that stuff and putting it all back together with half line. You can see some of it working out. Again, this team, this is Mayville from 3 years ago now, but they've always been the same. They just try to cause confusion, and it's worked out well for them. Right, so it's something we got to practice all week. Just, hey, full zone, full zone. Okay, and you can see this front side doing a really good job passing this off. Okay, and they know once we zebra, we're just responsible for our play side gap. So if this guy's trying to cross face, chances are something's coming back to you. Okay, same thing over here. Cade starts with a threat. He sees near hip go away. We tell him, stick your foot in the ground, get straight vertical. Okay, you're going to have issues if your O-line continues on their path like this. Okay, and the reason being is you're telling that running back to come straight downhill. Okay, so as you get your verticals or your angle steps, zone step, Okay, if nothing's there in your gap, you better stick your foot and get vertical. Okay, and Cade does a really good job with that here. Gets vertical just enough for us to get a 6-yard touchdown. Another pretty good one here from the tight. You see front side, they got a double team here. Backside double team here. He's got that solo block. Okay, and he's adding into this thing. It's full zone or zone solid, so it's automatic give. Okay, but you can see we get movement on the front side. So the center sees near knee, near hip go away. He doesn't freak out. Stick your foot in the ground, push straight vertical. Again, if he would have went on that angle, chances are this guy dips him, and now we got issues. Okay, backside, pretty good job. You can see backside tackle on his trail technique. Okay, scooting over, getting nose to nose, but you can see now he's just standing straight up and down. Again, this kid was a really good football player, just lazy at times. He should be thinking, I'm going to drive this guy right into second level. Okay, it looks like got a few minutes here. We'll cruise through some of these adjustments off of it. This is more X's and O's than technique stuff. You know, the first one, it's still zone read here. This is zone read, but we're just changing who's the outside zone runner and who's the inside zone runner. We talked about number 5 was one of our, probably our second best running back playing quarterback. So he's running the inside zone here. He's running essentially the give is the pull in the play before, right? So we're still reading this guy on the zone read. If he squares and squeezes this thing, okay, then he's going to pull and run the inside zone. Okay, if this guy's running flat down, shoulders turned, that means he can give it, and the running back's running the outside zone. Okay, as you can see, this guy's square and squeeze, so that means quarterback's got to pull it. He's got to run the inside zone. So we're just exchanging those two's responsibility. It's really good for teams like this. You can see with that action what that does with all these guys, right? Like freaking out. You got 3 guys just completely triggering with the running back here. So you get teams that do a lot of that. That's a really good option for you. Okay, obvious other adjustments to this is the swipe stuff that you see. So here our tight end swiping across. Again, it turns it into an automatic give unless you like pre-snap any of these screen options. So like this one's kind of in between, right? Like I would have been okay if he pulled and threw this thing out there because this guy's pretty tight to the box. Okay. Whatever reason he liked giving it, fine. There's no post-snap read on the swipe stuff. Okay, good coaching point here on the swipe. Like it's going to be brutal, maybe not so much at the high school level, but these guys are trained assassins. They're going to come down. They're going to fly down. They're going to try and cut this thing off, close this gap. So you got to come flying across. We get same arm, same shoulder. So left arm to left arm. You should be a little bit lower, meet them low to high, explode through, bring your backside hand. Okay, and this is another good look here, guys, as we're watching this thing. We should have eyes up. We start seeing this guy creep. This would be a great indicator of, hey, this guy's probably crossing face. This guy's coming C. So we should at least on the front side call off our double teams. And we have a different call where just the front side, we call it trio. So these 3 guys are just going to full zone. Doesn't change anything for these guys. They're still getting in their double team because nothing's funky back here. Only the front side's funky. Okay, so here they should have just trioed this. He would have fell right into this. He would have fell right into this. Luckily, we got lucky here. That guy coming off the edge didn't cause any issues. Another good one. So just like Womp, but with this Womp stuff, again, this guy does a good job squeezing this at times. So you can change responsibilities by blocking this guy back and inserting. So here we kind of add a motion into it. Okay, but instead of having anything Womp the D end, let's have him back block and have him insert to next level. Okay, you can see what that does. Creates a nice wall here. He should still push his track, thinking front side, front side. If it's cut off, now he knows the backside should be cut off in there for him. So this is just a fun one. Again, this kid from Juneau, scrappy little dude. So you can see here 4th and 2. To get numbers back in the box, sometimes got to run the quarterback. So here we kind of spread it out, go 10 personnel on 4th and 2. Okay, and now we're just going to have the running back. It's just like that play you just saw with the whack insert with the fullback. Now the running back's just going to insert for backside inside. Boom, same arm, same shoulder. Some fun RPOs off it. Again, we've been lucky to have even kid from Juneau. We talked about number 5 being our second best running back. Kid from Juneau, Noah Chambers, really dang good running the football too. So some of the RPO stuff with the quarterback run game, getting +1 in the box has been really good. This is an easy one. If you guys have good running quarterbacks, this is an easy one to gain numbers advantage. It's an easy read for him. He's just reading backside inside linebacker. If he stays in the box, you got numbers out here. Throw it out there. On the O-line, nothing changes. They're just running inside zone. On the backside, they're locked up. Same exact play. And again, here's Noah from Juneau doing a good job here. And this is kind of in between. So this is his read guy. And we try to preach to them, hey, we gain any sort of leverage with the running back, throw it out there. Like, I would be okay with him throwing that. He's got leverage. Throw it out there. Throw that thing. Whatever reason he felt like running, which with him running the football is not a bad thing. Okay, and then I always have stuff to protect it. So here's, again, this was one of our favorite quarterback RPOs. So having the pop pass to protect it. They want to start overplaying that thing. Boom, pop that thing, pop the tight end right into that void. You can do the same thing if it's 3 wide receiver set. You have a slot here. He can get into that same exact void. Okay, a lot of people have the the bypass stuff in now with the bluff, split zone bluff. This is one of my favorite plays of all time here. If you guys watch number 2 at the end of this thing, just a competitor. Like, I don't know how he gets a hold of that guy's helmet, but he chucks that, hits another guy in the face. Just fantastic. Okay, but the quarterback's still just reading that D end. You got teams that are screaming down and they're trying to wrong arm any sort of swipe or womp. Okay, the big coaching point for this guy is you tell him this guy's got to pass underneath him. If you allow him to pass over top, there's going to be issues with that exchange there. Okay, so he's still squaring and squeezing. Okay, so that's telling him realistically he could have handed this thing off with how this guy's squaring and squeezing. Okay, but we knew this team was going to try and wrong arm that thing. So boom, we pulled it, threw that thing out there. And again, this is just fantastic. Boom. Scrappy little dude. Okay, some more just simple quarterback run. Okay, if they try with that motion. So I really like this because you're going to get an idea pre-snap with this motion if they're adjusting at all. So quarterback knows even probably before he snaps his football, he's running this thing because they got 3 for 3 and a guy running man with the motion guy. Okay, and this is Noah. He came in at halftime of this game, led us back from a 24-point deficit. Played out of his mind in the second half. Okay, and then all of our inside zone, it's pretty easy to tag any sort of quick game on the backside, especially. So here we're just running stick on the backside. These guys want to be flat-footed and inserting. Well, then we're getting numbers advantage over here running any sort of quick game. You can run hitches, you can run slants. Here we're just running stick. Okay, against a really good Division II team. They played a lot of man coverage against us. So they knew they were going to have numbers in the box. Well, that's given us one-on-ones out here. And here we had MOR and speed out. But realistically, with how much man we were seeing, it probably should have been just slants and a square in. Okay, but regardless, we hit that thing. We honestly hit this out route probably 6 or 7 times in this game. And then obviously, like I talked about, I want to get into a little bit of play action pass. You're going to start getting teams inserting safeties, okay, to add numbers into the box, start running the ball well. That's awesome because when we know the void is right where that safety left, if they want to go to cover 3, we got built-in answers. So our favorite one here is post. Okay, and then we got an over route, and we got a dig. So quarterback, it's really easy for the quarterback just go to 1, 2 to 3. And all these guys are pretty much on the same level, so it's easy progression for them. We tell this crosser to get about, we want him more 12 to 14. Here you can see why he's at about 10 on the opposite hash. And that kind of causes a hit here. If he's more at 12 to 14, this guy's not getting into the picture. Really, he's just running away from this guy at that point. Okay, but you can see post doesn't like it because the safety gets to number 2, likes it. If he didn't like that, he's getting to number 3. And we never had our running back get out, but pretty easy to just have him sneak out. Now, if you get to number 3, you got a real high-low with that flats defender over there. Okay, blocking wise, it's just full zone, so it's an automatic zebra. So when we have play action on, these guys just go up there and they just call zebra, zebra, zebra. Another one here. Same exact play, post, over, dig. Okay, questions for me, guys? I know I threw a lot of information out there. More than happy to answer anything you guys got for me. Coach Boma, anything?
Yeah, I was taking all these notes down. I've been here 8 years, but I'm still trying to figure this offense out half the times.
Good.
Coach, I know you're talking inside zone. Do you guys complement this with any duo type schemes?
You know, not really. You know, some of our inside zone turns into kind of like duo. So it's just like why would we have another play when this the double teams we do and some of that just kind of looks a lot like duo. So we have basically inside zone, then our install is a 4-day install. So day 1 install is inside zone, day 2 is outside zone and pin pull. Day 3 is power and counter. So kind of more of our gap scheme. And then day 4 is just our draw. So then basically we go through those 4 days, just the base install. When we get back to the top, we get back to day 1, then we start adding the tags off. So you saw some of the bash, the whack, the wham. That's kind of the second time through, and we add that tags to all 4 of those as we go back through it again. And we get back to the third time through, then we start adding motions and some of that stuff to it. You know, I think it's good because then I like that just as an offensive line guy. I think it's good for our guys because you're getting out there, you're teaching a technique, and that day is just solely inside zone technique work. You know, you're not sitting there for 10 minutes teaching inside zone technique and then all of a sudden shifting gears and going power. Like this way it's focused and they know day 1, hey, we're only running inside zone today. Okay, and when we go team, it's nothing but inside zone, right? You know, so you sit there and say, well, team sessions must suck, right? The defense knows exactly what's coming. Well, yeah, but we make it look a lot different, right? And we got a lot of different stuff built off of it to make it look different, and all the options with just within the inside zone, it's just fine. So, and defenses are dumb. Don't tell them I said that, but they usually don't catch on that. Hey, it's nothing but inside zone and 4 verts today. They never really do catch on. So, what else? Awesome. Well, like I said, this is my contact information on here. If you guys want any of this, I can try and download it and send it out. If you want any outside zone, power, whatever, I can put some clips together and send it out to you guys too. So, okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Coach.